Hello guys, welcome to the first episode of Sarakku Cinema Politics. This is me, Venki, this is Chaitanya and Prithvi. We're going to be discussing about mainly Indian cinemas, but we're also going to be talking about cinemas in general, politics and society, and if there is any major cultural movement that's going on right now. Chaitu, you want to introduce yourself?
Yep. Hey everyone, this is Chaitanya, a big movie buff. We've been meaning to start this podcast for a while now, so I'm happy that it's finally kicking off. Looking forward to actually discuss movies with these guys and also see what opinions you guys have as well. So looking forward to have a two-way conversation here.
Okay. Hi guys, this is Prithvi. The three of us have a lot of common interests and I'm a huge movie buff too. Not just movies, be it politics or even life in general, a lot of common interests, and a podcast just seemed like the right thing to do always, and it feels right time to do right now. So hopefully this is going to be a long one, not just the first. So yeah, I think
right. So we are drinking Gustav Arctic vodka. It's interesting. All right. So. Chaitanya, do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. So today we're going to be discussing Salaar, Prabhas' comeback movie after 3 disasters. We went in with a lot of hopes and we really wanted to like the movie. So looking forward to actually discuss this with you guys. Usually we don't agree on most things, so I'm sure that's how this will go
all
as
night.
well.
Yeah. This is an all-night conversation, trying to wrap it up in 20 minutes.
Yeah, so let's kick it off. The 2-minute overview of what you think of Salaar.
Alright, so I'll go for the short summary first. Salaar I thought was just KGF light without Rocky Bai. A lot of the KGF template scenes or shots or elevation scenes, Prashanth Neel style elevations were all there, but none of them really landed because you would never connect with Prabhas or Salaar the role. He's beating goons left, right, center, throwing them all over the place, but you could care less. Whereas when Rocky Bai did it, you really could feel the goosebumps, right? Here, the scenes was there, technically it was there, but emotionally it wasn't there. So what do I think about Salaar overall? I think a ceasefire for me also. Did I like the movie? No. But do I want to hate Prashanth Neel for that? No also. So I would hold on. I would definitely want to go watch Salaar 2 and would still hold on to love for Prashanth Neel, all because he's given us KGF. So I guess on to 2 now, and 1 was just pass. Yeah, that's my short summary.
Alright, I actually liked the movie. I wouldn't say I loved it, but I liked it. World building is not easy. It's a super difficult thing to do. You need to create all these environments, need to make sure that the aesthetic is right, make sure that the characters are right, make sure that the motivations of those characters fit in that world, but also sort of weave into the plot seamlessly. And I think he does a decent job at that, the way he did in KGF. But what he doesn't do well in this movie, Prashanth Neel, is you don't really feel for those characters. Like Prithvi said, I agree with that. While you understand why a certain character does something that they do, you don't really care about them doing anything because the emotional investment is not there. And I think that has a lot to do with the way the plot unfolds itself. We'll get into those details in a little bit. But I think the way they structured the story and the way you learn things about the plot along the way could have been a lot better. That's my 2 cents about it. Good comeback for Prabhas, have to say that. I think I liked him in this movie after a very long time.
It's a blockbuster.
Really I am looking forward to Salaar Part 2 for sure. There is enough intrigue in the world of Kansar for me to go back and watch that movie. Watch the second part of the movie.
This is Venki. I did not like Salaar. There are parts of the movie that I enjoyed, but as a whole movie, I did not enjoy it, mainly because it was repeating KGF, right? And it was repeating in a way like where you kind of improve on the second, third revisions. It didn't do that. Matter of fact, I think Prashanth Neel kind of walked back. And with the emotional connect of it, like I feel like, we'll get that into more details later. But I didn't feel like I could make any sort of, I couldn't feel sorry, or I couldn't feel victorious when Salaar was hitting someone, right? Like, so that is one of my main problems with the movie. But I absolutely love Prabhas. He sold his physicality, right? Like, he looked absolutely marvelous on the screen. He knows his cameras. He's absolutely majestic to look at. Having said that, I did not enjoy the action choreographies. I think that could have been better. We'll get to that later. Other than that, the color palette, like most of these things, like it kind of like, was KGF rehashed for me. That's all my problem with the movie is, actually. Well, that's it for me.
Cool. I think now that we discussed like overall thoughts, let's get into a little bit of detail.
Get in the weeds.
Yep. So, do you want to start off with direction and aspects of direction that you liked, didn't like?
Yeah, sure. So what definitely worked for me is I definitely love the Prashanth Neel style and aesthetic. I mean, we all grew up on mass cinema, right? Love mass cinema, all of us do. And Prashanth Neel always tries to push the mass elevation envelope, which is always interesting because he is the director who, through KGF, introduced this concept of not only elevating a mass moment through emotion, but technically setting up everything to elevate the hero's image. Like all the side characters, the music, the props, the set, everything. Yeah, exactly. Like for example, the KGF, the whole scene, right, where they're in the police station.
Banda.
All the chaos, all the panic inside the police station is all because they want to build you up to Rocky Bai coming and like exploding the whole stuff over, right? And it works. It really works. So Prashanth Neel tried to continue the same here too, which really worked for me. Again, the technical aspect of it worked for me, not the emotion like I already mentioned. The set design was good. Like, okay, he wanted to convey a Kansar world which is dystopian and a lot of bad stuff happening right now. And although there were like a few issues here and there, like where they would suddenly show an image of Venice and then they would show image of a wall and we all have to believe it's Kansar. And in a very weird way, I wasn't complaining when I was watching it. I was okay with it. It was fine. So if he had to convey a bad world out there, which is very difficult for me to even get into, I think I was sold on that. And a big contribution towards that was just the sets, the way they were built. They were huge and they were pretty intimidating. That was great. Music was fantastic. Ravi Basroor, you know what you get from him and yet he delivers every single time. I think Ravi Basroor is a mass cinema fan more than a music director. I think he loves to watch his own scenes at his home before going to sleep is what I think.
Yeah.
It really works. His background music, people might think it's loud, but it's loud deliberately. So it really works.
Do you like it as much as you liked BGM and KGF?
I really did not. I think again it didn't work for me. Also again not because of Ravi Basroor. It's because I could really care less that the BGM is enhancing Salaar's image.
Like the emotion is the crux of it, and music just adds to that, right? Like when the crux is missing, then
Right, exactly. Like Prithviraj just calls Deva and he just comes over all of a sudden and I'm supposed to believe that he's this huge dinosaur who just like time traveled and came and I'm supposed to take it. No, like I want to know. And one big thing which really was a contributing factor for that is that mother sentiment which worked so well in KGF was the absolute negative in this one.
Oh yeah, couldn't agree more. I hated her.
Yeah,
Every time the mom came on screen, I was like, please, let's move to the next scene.
And Ishwari Rao is a brilliant actress.
Phenomenal
Actress, and to make audience hate her presence, it really needs bad writing. You can't say it about Shruti Hassan though. Doesn't take much to not take her on screen.
Okay.
So yeah, those are my initial thoughts on what worked and what not. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I think you covered a whole lot of it. I think for me, the main problems with the movie come with the way the story unfolds itself, right? Because if you think about it, it's
some non-linear storytelling.
But it's essentially following the Baahubali way of telling stories. Baahubali 1 starts, the first half is about the younger Baahubali, so it's in present.
Right.
Second half completely cuts to flashback.
Right.
The first
like
half
he's an innocent hero, he's playing with the kids.
Yeah. The second half is is in a flashback, it's set in the flashback, ends in the flashback.
Mm-hmm.
And then the first half of the second movie is still the flashback, and then it goes back to present towards the end.
Right.
This is following the exact same template. Salaar starts in present, first half is in the present, ends with there is an elevation, some sort of a scene, and then second half is completely in the flashback, ends in the flashback.
Right.
I'm pretty sure the part 2 is going to start there.
Right.
So why did that work? Why didn't this work? I think in Baahubali, by the time the first half ends, there's a hype because Prabhas actually chops off the head of the prince. The stakes are high. You feel for it. And then there is a reveal. Everyone wants to know what does Baahubali mean to the world, right?
Only Rajamouli can do those things.
Right?
Yeah.
And
even
then
the mother's character, I didn't think of it up until now. Even the mother's character, she's scared of what he would become. Right in Baahubali. That's exactly what Ishwari Rao was doing here.
Yeah.
Rohini was like, hey, what are you doing? Don't do that, right? In Baahubali.
Mm-hmm.
It's who asked you to do this? She's afraid of what he's going to become.
Right.
And then the same thing is.
Yeah.
Right.
But the stakes there are so much higher and there's so much investment already.
Right.
Here, Baahubali 1 ends where Katappa kills Baahubali and you want to know why. Because you root for both the characters.
He is the most loyal man ever.
Yeah.
Right.
And
now think about how Salaar 1 ends.
Yeah.
The Salaar 1's cliffhanger is that Prabhas is actually Shauryanga tribe.
Right.
Who cares?
Who cares?
We don't know what Shauryanga tribe is.
Right.
It isn't introduced.
Right.
There isn't enough depth to that part of the story. Yeah, so we don't really know. Okay, yes, your leader his head got chopped off and whatnot.
Right.
But then that
I
wasn't
need to
enough
have
for
an emotional connect to Shaurya tribe. So when they get killed, I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Please don't kill that.
That doesn't
tribe.
happen because more than 80% of the plot is revealed in the last 45 minutes. Right? So that I guess is where the movie falters.
It's a huge screenplay disaster.
Right.
Yeah.
So Venki here, going off of that, I feel whatever Prashanth Neel had, he kind of unveiled that in the second half and more towards the end of the second half. And there was absolutely no need for that because the first half was struggling. When we watched the movie together and when the interval block came, all of us were just looking at each other. We were like, bro, what the fuck is happening? Right? Because it is almost like the end of the first hour into the movie, he actually hits someone. Right? And at that point, you're not begging for him to hit someone, right? Because there's no emotional connect to him. You're actually kind of relieved. Oh fuck, the movie is finally going to start. That's a bad sign, right? So this kind of non-linear storytelling is new to Prashanth Neel for sure, but the way he did it is definitely questionable. My main problem with this movie is that no one except Shriya Reddy's character shows any sort of emotional or intellectual growth in them, right? He's Salaar, the title character. He is mainly a man driven by two emotions. That's best friend and mom. that was me in third grade. So to me, like, that's kind of hard to like get into. And it's not just that, it's even the mom, like, she's the strict teacher, like, but like she, like, it doesn't look like she thinks for a second, right? Like, everything is kind of like in a magma of like, none of this matters. We have to make this frame look in this certain black and gray hues, and Prabhas has to walk this way and he has to hit someone this way, right? To me, that doesn't work, right? It's probably like, it would work in a game, in a video game, but in a movie, like, I don't see a cinematographer in the movie at all. Like, I don't see the presence of a camera movement. I don't see a presence of a dialogue writer. The dialogues were such a drab. Like, when Shruti Hassan says, like, oh, wait, can I just get my drink? Like,
the accent was the worst. Accent was so off.
Yeah, I mean, like, the dialogue in itself, like, right?
I agree that like dialogue overall was poor, but I think I enjoyed the one. I think the only dialogue that Prabhas has is the dialogue in the Katerama scene where he's explaining like how they did it wrong and how the right way to pray to the goddesses. That worked for me. I enjoyed that bit. That entire scene actually is great.
The entire scene, like the whole block worked.
Yeah, that entire block worked for me right from the time he is folding his hands and they show the shadow.
His shadow is
works using the shadow, like the shadow has his hands folded. Like that entire block worked for me. It did.
It worked until the little child starts singing, right? Like that's when there was a collective groan, like in the theater. We're like, oh, please.
Yeah, the problem is like Prashanth
sings.
Yeah.
No, the chant sort of a thing. That didn't bother me at all, actually.
It didn't?
It didn't bother me.
It bothered me also because, look, I know Prashanth Neel is creating this aura for the hero's elevation scene, but I don't make it so obvious. Okay, look, guys, we have to amp up the tempo.
No, but I think it warranted that. Like, see, they've been someone who've been preyed on for so long. Finally, they see like someone who's come. It's their day to celebrate.
You know what would have worked? If they just showed a glimpse just before that.
There was a song right after the murder.
Or
that would have been mass.
Or just before that scene, had they shown a glimpse where the Yaya chant is something they do to their gods. Let's say the girls were just doing Yaya to the god, and then now when Prabhas came, they look at him and they start doing that. That would have really worked for me. What is this Yaya chant? I'm like, wait, what is it? Where did this come from? I don't even know. You're just supposed to assume it just supposed to land. That didn't work for me.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah. In an action movie, I have to say this. In an action movie, I felt like the action sequences were really weak. Right? Like, this was 20 years taking us back in time.
Except the Katerama scene. I love that.
But, I mean, it was executed well, but like, the action choreography in itself was good, but like the scene build up and the payoff wasn't there. But Anbariv, us, like, we love Anbariv, all of us, and he, to us, is like he transcended Indian cinema's action sequences, South Indian cinema's action sequences, and we couldn't feel his presence in this movie at all. I couldn't feel his presence in this movie at all. The first time you see like some sort of action actually happening instead of like just a block and people just explode is when the beheading scene happens.
That's the Katerama scene.
No. I'm talking about like the tribal leader, like his dad, the rapist fellow's dad. When that's when like the action choreography kind of shows for me.
The thing which really, really didn't work is like touching on the action choreography, right? The problem is the action scenes were there, but the jump cuts were just too convenient. Jump cuts were there. It's a Prashanth Neel template. They were there in KGF 2. It really worked in KGF. But here, towards the climax, the most important scene where Prabhas is stuck inside a jail with thousands of people, and you're all anticipating, okay, how is he going to escape from this, right? Everyone's like falling upon him, and they jump cut that into him escaping into something else.
No, but before that, he first gets a like 5-minute tattoo, and like everybody's waiting while his tattoo is done. Like, I mean, see, but I do have a gripe with those things as well, but then it didn't bother me as much. I think the movie overall sort of delivered the Prashanth Neel experience that I kind of went into the theater looking for. I mean, it wasn't like a KGF 2, but I liked it.
Would you would say like Salaar 2. Would you watch the movie FDFS?
For sure.
Yeah,
Would
For
you?
sure.
I won't.
I see.
I will. Any day.
And the $1,000,000 question: do you want the KGF and Salaar universes to fuse at some point? In the
I don't
future?
care. I hope it doesn't, because at this point, if it does, it'll be stupid, because
Right.
the time periods are very
Right.
different.
Yeah, he's like 1970s.
Right.
Like,
And not just that, in general, I've realized Prashanth Neel cannot do cinematic
I think he
universes.
already mentioned in one of his interviews that
this is
that's not his cup of tea. He doesn't know how to do it well.
I can clearly see in the movies
Right.
that, like these are two different worlds, and if you try to fuse it, it's only just for money.
Yeah.
So
I don't think he's gonna do that.
I
Like,
hope so. Yeah.
Closing thoughts?
Closing thoughts. So was like Salaar was, I don't know, 35 on 100. I don't know, just pass. It still works.
3.5 out of 10.
rate on 10. Like, all of us
Rate
are
on
giving a
10.
score on 10.
Yeah.
And we'll add up. And
Okay.
then we'll see.
Okay.
Over time, we'll see which movies fare how
Okay.
in,
Yeah, that's a good
ratings.
idea.
Yeah.
Okay. So Salaar probably would be a 5 on 10. 5 because 3 for the movie, 2 because Prashanth Neel gave KGF. So still holding on to some love for him. I would just give a 5 on 10. It was fine. I don't regret spending money going to the theater, and I wouldn't mind watching.
So what is the math behind like 35 on 100 translating to 5?
Yeah. Some weird math, but okay, we'll take it.
We'll take
Like,
it.
it's fine. It's 5 on 10.
Right?
Yeah.
He's a Bangalore boy. That's
Hey.
how it is. Yeah, they are both Bangalore boys.
Yeah. Don't say anything about Bangalore.
Yeah.
Best city in the world.
Yeah.
I agree, actually. Yeah.
Another.
Uh,
That's another podcast.
How
Yeah.
about you?
I think for me, it's a. I don't want to give it a 7 on 10. Okay. But it's not a 6.5 either. So I think I'll go for 6.732.
6.75.
6.75 on 10.
Alright.
I like the movie. I'm looking forward to the next one. I think he's done a good job setting up and creating enough interest. He could have done a much better job at it. But super excited for Prabhas. So
Yeah, kudos. Okay, I'm gonna take an extra minute, guys, if you guys don't mind, right? So, this is something I missed in, other people who review movies. It's what can I tell them to do this better, right? So, to me, specifically, dialogue writers, have better dialogue writers, be in tune with them. To have cinematographers
Everyone's
express
watching.
themselves.
the dialogue writer is watching.
Yeah. I'm assuming they would at some point.
Nice.
Audience would cinematographers, gives them some scope for them to make their presence known. 3, world building, it is great, but it reminds me so much of KGF, right? And if you're saying you can't make this as a universe, but still they're both the same, everything, right? It's actually, it's so hard for you to not make it an universe. That's how similar these two movies are. And last thing, Prashanth Neel, I think you have great potential. I think you would do really great, phenomenal as a video game director. But this setup of 3 layers, right? This is all KGF 1, 2, and then this movie as well. The actual action block that's about to happen, and then there's a person that is crying for help, and then there is a person that is and then there is Shruti Hassan or Prakash Raj or Rohini that is on the top layer, what happened after that. Or a villain.
Banda.
And then there is something else that was waiting in the air. And then there is a childless grandma, or a mother with a dying child, stage 4 cancer. They're all can someone stop this at all? And then the action block, right? This setup keeps repeating itself over and over, and it has done that in KGF 1, 2, and in Salaar as well.
Yeah.
Time for you to break out of it, bro. But to me, the movie is 5 on 10. Special kudos to the costume designers, Ravi Basur, and really love Prabhas here. So, anything else to add, guys?
Waiting for Salaar 2, I guess.
Not a first show for me, but that's
They
it
suck.
from us.
Okay. This movie is a 6.75.
6.75.
Okay.
There's a delta.
The only podcast where you'll hear a 6.75.
Yeah. That's it from
Alright.
us.
Yeah.
Hopefully, see you guys
You
soon.
guys enjoyed this. Thank you.
Yeah.
With more alcohol and more politics and more cinema.
Bye, guys.
Ciao.
Please like and subscribe.
Yeah.